Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Cab Crew Wednesday on this April Fool's Day in 2026. Hope everybody's doing well. And it was a beautiful day today here in New Jersey, finally. Got a little cloudy after 5 o'clock, but it's still warm out. So, oops, wrong one. And so I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat so far. Rail Artist is here. Welcome, Mike. How you doing? Jim Tedesco's here. Welcome, Jim. How are you? Then Dwight Curley showed up. Hey, Dwight. Welcome. And then we got Chuck Shriver. Hey, Chuck. Welcome. How you doing? And Russ rocking trains and stuff. Russ, how you doing? Welcome. Glad to see you in here. And I think that's it, folks. So I didn't see anybody else pop in yet, but I'm sure they'll come along. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. Keep it in tune with everything. Yeah, I'm up to 596 subscribers now, getting close to 600. 4 away, and the watch hours are creeping up. So one of these days we'll get to 1,000. So I'm in the train room again today. Been cleaning this place up and stuff. So it's been busy here. And I put a video out on my rocker switch project, and I finally completed that. And had some glitches here and there, which I had to fix as I was going along. And then I found out a bunch of other ones. How long I've been on YouTube? 5 years, Russ. I put out a video on my 5th year of YouTube. I did a video about my being on YouTube for 5 years. So that was a couple of months. I think it was a couple of weeks back I did that video. I just noticed that I was there for 5 years. So I said, I'll do a video showing everybody that I've been here for 5 years now. And well, when I moved into my home, and I've been in here for over 5 years now too, and it's I started YouTube then. So that's when I started getting back into the trains once I got into this house. So hope that answers your question, Russ. So the rocket switch project led to some issues with short circuits on the tracks because putting the wires back on, you don't know which one is which and stuff like that. So I would test the track, and if it shorted it out, then I just have to flip the 2 wires that were coming from the DCC bus line and flip them, and then everything was working. So that was. Oh, that's okay, Russ. Yeah, I know. Jim Tedesco put out a video the other day on his switching tower, and I never got notification about that. And I just happened to be scrolling through, and I saw it pop up. So I then looked at it and stuff like that. That's all right, Rail Artist. No problem. Got a happy wife, happy life, right? So that's what that is all about. And then even up on the roundhouse, I had a lot of stuff like that with the rocker switches and stuff like changing the wires around. I found that out today because I wasn't messing with the roundhouse for yeah, for the most part, right? um, I found a lot of them that I had to switch today, and I was running into some problems because I finished up the roundhouse. We'll get into that in a few minutes, and I'll explain that. My flywheel project, I was able to get the flywheels off of the new motor that I was going to put in that engine. It took a while for me to get it, and I'll explain why. Let me make myself bigger. I think I can just do this. Yes. That's the next thing I'm going to talk about, but that worked. That's good. So this is a ball peen hammer. Not very big. It's nice, fits around a hand like that. That's a tool I used to remove the flywheels with. And this is a drift punch. It's a small one. And yeah, I know. That's right, Russ. Yeah, notifications come and go. As a matter of fact, the other day, YouTube Studio was down. They were making changes and couldn't get in to look at analytics, couldn't get in to look at your videos and nothing. So, yeah, that's right. Yeah, every day it seems like there's something going on with it. And I think they're making a lot of changes, stuff like that. So who knows? So anyway, this is the drift punch that I used. And then I got myself these flanges, but I'm not sure if these are the right ones. But these were the smallest I could find in the Home Depot, so I just grabbed them. And so what I was doing was, and then I bought this, which is a vise, and it has a thing on it, and you can hook it right up to your table, and then you have a thing here. So in my dining area, I have a wooden two-drawer, two-shelf piece of furniture in there. It's not real fancy or anything. It's just something that I bought when I was living in an apartment because it was the right size. And it has a real thick top, about 1.5 inches, I think, or 2 inches. So I clamped that vise onto that and right near the leg, so it was nice and sturdy. And then I took the motor and put it on there and got the drift punch and put it in there and started tapping away, you know. And the first side of the flywheel, this is the new motor, and these are the original flywheels. I have them on here now just to show you. But the one flywheel came off pretty easy, but the other one, I couldn't get it to come out. It was up and down, you know. I did a little bit, came back to it later, did more, came back to it later. Then I finally got it, but it took a while to get it off. And then these two just slide right on there. So see, they come right off and they slide right on there. So what I got to do is I 3D printed this washer, and I'm going to put that in there. That's 2 millimeters. Whoops, got in my hand. That's 2 millimeters thick, and that's about the distance you need it to be away from the motor. So I put that in there, and then I'll push that on. And then I got this stuff, Loctite 620. And you put a little bit on the shaft, and you push the flywheel in, and it sets. I don't know how long it takes to set, but I'll let it set overnight before I use the motor. So that's what's going to happen. And then these were taken out when I was taking the old these off of the old motor. And then I had to push these back on. I got them on there now. And then all I got to do is push that down in there and use that Loctite 620, and that'll hold them. Right now, I can just pull it off, so it'll slide. And see, it doesn't even spin. Oh, it does spin the other one. You can see it going. It spins it, but it's slipping. So that's what the Loctite will keep it on there, and then it'll spin properly. So that's something I'm going to do next week. I'm not messing around with the motors, engines this week, because I'm trying to get the layout in a position where I can start running some trains and stuff. So that's the goal. I'm getting real close. And how I made myself bigger on the screen, you know how the guys are always clicking the wrong buttons on StreamYard, and they do this and this and that. Well, I have a Stream Deck. Jim has one. Rick Bailey has a Stream Deck, and either it was Jim or Rick I saw have the Stream Deck, and then I got one after I saw they had one. I said, oh, I can make use out of this. So today I set up my Stream Deck to do stuff on StreamYard. And to get that counter to come down, I just hit a button. It opened up the present or invite on StreamYard, which allows you to pick videos. And then I showed the video file folder, and I selected the countdown video, and then it played on the screen. So, and I can't get the go live button on my Stream Deck to work yet. I was trying to get that to work, but it didn't work. But changing my views, they seem to be working. So if I go like this, then I'm back to that display, and I just hit a button, or I just go like this, and now I'm back on the screen. So it's just a matter of picking the right button there. And so I was playing with it, and I got multiple panels on my Stream Deck, and I have an arrow there. It scrolls to the next screen, and I have other buttons on there, like I have a StreamYard button. It opens up StreamYard on the browser for me, and then I go in there and set up the stream by myself. And I got one for YouTube. It brings up YouTube for me. I got this new one in here. I haven't figured it out yet. It's supposed to be able to set up a polling thing on the screen. So I haven't figured it out yet. It wants you to sign in and sign up or something, and I didn't have enough time to play around with that. So I'll play around with that one another day, and I'll have a poll and ask you guys questions and stuff like that. So So that's what was going on with the Stream Deck. And so let me get back to the window there. I can mute myself. I can take the video off myself. There's a button there for sharing and all that kind of stuff. So it works pretty well. And this, like I said, the go live button, I must have, and I don't know if it's set up to work with StreamYard properly. They work off of shortcuts, and that's what they do. They issue the shortcut key, and I don't know. So I have to play with it another time when I can bring up a stream and not have go live and just play around it. How many buttons on your Stream Deck, Tom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 buttons on each screen. And I can have up to 3 panels on there. So that's 45 buttons I can have, Jim. So I think that's the biggest one, 15. I thought maybe they had a 25. I don't remember. I think there was a small one, or I don't remember. When I bought it, I thought there was a different number of buttons on it, and I got the 15 button one. So, and so the only thing I got to get it to do is work with my IP camera software, and maybe it can click on it and open it up bigger and zoom in or zoom out or something like that. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see what that is. And so that worked out really nice. So I've had a Stream Deck for, I don't know, 2 years now, and I never use it because it was always out here, and I was doing streams in the computer room. I think yours has 12. Hey, Bob, welcome. How you doing? Well, that's okay. Just got home from Canada. Did they give you any trouble at the border? So that's what I was doing with my Stream Deck. And I'll be doing my streams from out here from now on, and which is what the goal was. And that'll be nice to be out here instead of in my office, unless something happens where I'm doing something major in here and I can't unclutter this desktop and stuff like that. I'll do one from inside there or whatever. So, hey, Mike, welcome. How you doing? So, that was nice. So I got some more buttons to play around with on the Stream Deck, and it helps and everything. So, so the roundhouse, I finally got all the workbenches painted and the workers painted, and Barbara's eye is still off and on, so it's hard for her to paint. And the workbenches have real tiny tools on them, and it was really hard to see those tools to paint them. But she wore my glasses that opened up, made it bigger, but her depth perception is a little off with her eyes still. So kind of hard to paint things when you don't have depth perception. So, finally got them painted, got the workers all painted, and so I put them up there, and on the camera that's showing the layout, couldn't see the workbenches, even inside, and I had them close to the doors, they were close and everything. And the camera was able to see the floor of the stalls. And then I put the workbenches on there, and then the camera just went, yeah, we're not going to show you that. So I said, yeah, what's going on here? So I put the roofs on, thinking that maybe the light from outside, overhead light was causing problems, and it causing the camera to have, different. And I put the roofs on, and that didn't make no difference. So I said, let me add some lights in there. So yesterday I spent the day, and I finished up today putting lights in each stall on the ceiling. So I took the ceiling, the roofs off. They're the ceilings also, but they're the roofs. I took them off, and I soldered three 3mm LEDs in a series, and then I connected that wire to the other light up there. And when I turn the track power on, those lights come on also. There are times when manual mode is the best solution to get the shot. I don't know what that means, Bob. So anyway, I then had all the stalls turned on and the light. I took my iPhone up there and I started videoing it. I had to hold the camera, I couldn't hold the camera because it goes around, and I was with one arm trying to move it across there. So it didn't get a nice video of it, but at least I could see the workbenches and the guys standing there at the workbenches. So I could see them on a camera. So what I'll do is I'll videotape that, and then I'll show that in the video. But if we go back to here, and I go to here, okay, and I'm going to point to them with the arrow. You can see the workbenches right there. Now there's only one guy standing there. I have two guys in each of the stalls. Well, there's two guys there. There's a guy there standing with his arms up in the air, like, what the hell's going on? And then there's two workbenches there. And then here, there's one guy, because the other guy I had too close to the edge, and the engine was hitting it. Hey, Dan, welcome. How you doing? So you can see the workbench there. This workbench can't see because the bridge top is in the way. There you can see a guy standing. And then here you can see the two workbenches and two guys, but it's not crystal clear. And so the camera, when I videotape it, it should show it better. So I don't know how I'm going to do it because it's a weird angle up there. I'm on the creeper, and I'll have to see how I can get that low and go across in front of it to get a good view of the insides of the stalls. So, yeah, Jim, DMRJ is Dan, if you didn't know. So that's what I got done. And all the roofs are on, front and back. I moved a container that I had here where all the old wheels and trucks were kept in, and I moved that to back here. That's that sticking out there. And that's a dead area, so I figured I'd put it there. And here, where it was, I'll probably put another switching tower there. So that way it can oversee the roundhouse and the tracks coming into the roundhouse and stuff. So that one switching tower I made, I'll make another one, and then I'll put it right here. So that's down the road a bit. So that's what I'm going to do. And all along here, like I have a guy walking into the door there. There's a guy standing there. It's not clear. And there's a guy standing there, and there's a guy standing there. And then there's barrels there. There's a couple of boxes. There's a wheelbarrow there. This couple odds and ends I put along there just to dress it up a little bit. But the video camera you'll be able to see that, and I'll do that video and put that out probably on Friday, because I always, when I do my videos, I let them set for till the next morning and go from there. So that's what's going on with that. And so as I was, hey Dave, welcome. How you doing? I was listening while I was paying bills. My bills come in off and on. So, thanks, Dave. So, I was setting up the service tracks on the round table today. And what was happening was I was getting a short circuit when the engine would try to go into the stall. And that meant that thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. And see, I can zoom out on the camera, and then you can see all the doors on the other one, but you can't see inside the other one because that camera is looking this direction, and then it can pan across this way, but it can't pan back into that corner to see inside that other roundhouse. So, and I was running. I set up all the service tracks on here, and then I was getting a short circuit, and what that was a short circuit for that whole section of track up there. And then I had to redo the service tracks again because it was just a mess. And I was losing connectivity on the bridge, and so I removed the bridge, put it back in. Then I reset home on the bridge, and then everything seemed to work after that. So just before the show, well, this track right here, this one here, this is number 29. You see all the lights are on, right? They're bright and everything. And this one, I ran the engine on it, got a short, and then the light went out. And it didn't have no track power anymore. And all I did was solder the lights on the ceiling on these roof pieces to this LED that you're seeing here, because it was exposed. And I had that black electrical liquid tape on them, and I just took a knife and scraped it off so I could have some metal there to solder on the wires for the new lights that I put inside the roundhouse. So that worked. And I said, how did the power go out? So I stopped resetting the service tracks, and I said, let me go and find out what's going on with this track. And I opened up the roof, the front and the back, and I went in the back and I pulled on the wires that were connected to the track. And I thought maybe they were loose or something, but they were tight. They were good. So I knew I didn't have a loose connection there. So I went down, I followed it back. Here, the wire that comes from the terminal block, which is those two terminal blocks are connected to the bus line. So I have a bus line up there, and I have two wires connected to the bus line. They go to the two terminal blocks. Now that gives me a lot of drops off of that terminal block. So I run them to the different service tracks. And that wire had no power on it. So I took another wire and I connected it directly to the bus line instead of going through the terminal block. And then it worked again. So it was weird. I think sometimes the terminal blocks, they're the Euro terminal blocks, and I think they're all made in China, and they're not very well made. I have, when I first started using terminal blocks on my first level, I had these plastic cases, and then they had I had 4 screws on it or 8 screws on it, and the 8 screw ones were for the tortoise machines, and so you had 8 wires on it. So each tortoise machine went to a terminal block, and then you could connect from the terminal block to whatever you needed to connect it to. Those terminal blocks are solid. They don't fail, but these Euro terminal blocks are junk. So maybe one day I'll start getting some more of those other types of terminal blocks and replace them, because they're vital to getting do Tom a solid hit on his like, but thanks, Bob. So hey, Russ, welcome. How you doing? So I think I said hello to Russ already, but anyway, so after I fixed that, then the light stayed on. I had track power. I tested it with my Blue Man. So then I said, I'm going to move the turntable around. And one of the rails were sticking out and it shorted again. So I had to fix that rail. Just had to file it down. Hi again. Thanks, Russ. And I had to fix that rail a little bit. I just had to file it a little bit. And that fixed that. So then just before the show, I reset all the service tracks. And they all stuck this time. They went around, no short circuits. All the tracks, wires were set up properly. I didn't recognize that StreamYard logo. New. Oh, yeah, that's new. Yep. Everybody's changing things, Bob. YouTube changes things. StreamYard changes things. So, so after doing all that, I ran that little switcher that you see right there, which is on the bridge, and I would run that into each one. And if that goes in, then the other engines will work. So he had trouble getting into three stalls. The one here I told you about where the guy was standing close, he hit the guy's arm. No, you're not, Bob. I'm older than you, and I deal with the change more often. So anyway, so I took the guy out, and I gotta go back up there and glue him back in place, and I gotta move him over a little bit so he won't get hit by the engine. So his arm was just out over the the walkway there, just over a little bit, and that was enough for the engine to hit it and stop the engine from going in. Yeah, that's right, Russ. We used to say if it isn't broken, don't fix it. So, but they always want to change things. Like at work, every time I said it's not broke, why do we have to mess with this? And they would say, "Oh, well, we want to do this. We want to get a new stuff." Oh, yeah, right. And then we got more headaches. And that was my life in the computer world. All the time they were changing things all the time. So if it wasn't software, it was hardware. If it wasn't hardware, it was software. Always this and that, and always had to change. So, and then on the two other problems were this service track right here, number 31. You see that white spot there? I don't know if you can see it on a camera, but there's a white spot there. That's super glue. And it was stopping this little engine from going in there. So I got to get in there and clean those rails off a little bit better. And then I'll run the engine and make sure it runs in there. And then the last stall over this way, which you can't see, it's off the camera. He had trouble going in, so I got to check the track going in. Right before he got to the doors, he stopped, and it got hung up. It wasn't. I thought it was the door. He was hitting the door, but he wasn't hitting the door. So it's something on the rail or something that is hitting. That's why I like this little engine testing the track there, because it'll catch all the little problems and then I'll fix them as I go. So that's I'll work on them tomorrow, and that'll fix that. So that's what's going on with that thing, and it was a lot of work getting that done, and Barbara helped me with painting the workbenches and the workers, and that made it good. I still got to check to see if I have a worker inside the bridge here. If I don't, I'm going to put one in there. I think I did at one time. I didn't notice it if it was in there, so I got to check that. And I do have a worker inside this little engine too. I was able to put a guy sitting down in there, and there's a worker in this engine here too. So that's what's going on with this, and I'll have one more video coming out showing the workbenches that you guys will be able to see what they look like and everything, and maybe a little session of moving one of the engines that I got to put in the roundhouse, and that'll clean out that project up there. I got to put a couple of trees up there, and just to dress it up a little bit. So The switching tower, like I say, another thing for this space here. It's a nice open spot for it, and that'll take care of that. So, so I was going to start running the trains. So I looked at my automation panel, and I have LEDs on there, a green and a red. And the red is when it's off, and the green is when it's running. And there's three of the buttons that the red is off. And I think when I was under the layout, moving some wires, I might have pulled the LED out of the hole. So I got to go underneath there and invest that. Thanks, Russ. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's a cool little. That's the smallest switcher I found. It took me a long time to find that, but I finally got it, and it runs pretty good. And the only reason is because that's a 90, the 90 Walters turntable. It's a 90, not a 140. 140 is the big one. This is a 90. So that's only 12 and a half inches across the bridge. So I had a vacuum cleaning car that I wanted to put in one of the stalls to keep it there. So the 44 switcher and the track cleaning car won't fit on there. It's a little too long. So with that car and the vacuum cleaning car, it fits. It struggles pushing it in, even though that roundhouse there is now level. And I'm going to try pushing it into some of the other, whichever one it goes in nicely, then I can go. See, if I could have had the track set up with one of the stalls with the lead-in track, which is this track right here. That's the lead-in track. I would have had to move the building, and then I wouldn't have had no room over here. It would have been too close to the track to get it to line up with one of them. So it's close, but not close enough. So I'm just happy that it's there, and I can get the vacuum cleaning car in one of those stalls. So we'll have to see how that works out once I move them in there. But once it's in there, at least it won't roll forward like it was on those service tracks when they were out in the open. They were on an incline, and that was always that car, that vacuum cleaner car, is a free rolling car, and it it rolled right off. So that was what I'm going to do there. So anyway, back to the automation panel. Those LEDs, I got to look into them and investigate why they're not working, and then I can just push the button. It'll go from red to green, and hit the toggle switch so it stays on, and then the train starts automatically running. So I hope to have the first level running for next week's show. That's the goal. So we'll see. I got the new engine on the train. Haven't run it yet, with the track clean car on it. And I got the other two trains. They have the track cleaning cars on them. Well, I have to add a track cleaning car to the one train, because I took that one and put it on this train over here to see if it would work, and it did. So I had to just set that up and get that going, and we'll be back in business. So, um, so um, yeah. So after I fix the two tracks that have a problem, like that white spot with the super glue and the man in there, that those couple of issues. Um, yeah, who cares about Tiger Woods? Guy was he was arrested for DWI. He should be thrown in jail and put in there. Scumbag he is. Anyway, so after that, then I'm going to move the engines that I have to put up there and get them in place. And then the open stalls will be for all the switchers that I'm going to have once I get them working with the changing out the flywheels and stuff like that. Um, so that's what I'm going to do with there. And then I found out today that they shipped out my replacement chickens. Um, what happened was up on the farm, yeah, they do. It's just the camera. And let me try something here. Um, Echo, train room blue. I set the master bedroom color light to a vibrant blue. Never mind. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't do that. I don't know. He's an idiot. Anyway, um, I if I change the light to blue, I can do it on my phone here. Let me get to those devices. This one here, go to color. And this one here, color. No, see, they didn't change any brighter. It's still bright, and I just made the room blue. So that's not it. Yeah, that's not it. So I don't know. Yeah, they're kind of bright, but they're not bright when you look at it from here. When I'm in the room, it doesn't. No, he DWIs. He's an alcoholic. Shouldn't have a driver's license. They should take his driver's license away from him permanently. It's like the second or third time he's been caught with DWI. He should lose his license for permanently and should be thrown in jail for 15 to 20 years. That's a crime. So no mercy here for them kind of people. No mercy. So anyway, so the chickens are on their way, and they shipped them. So I called up and said, "Hey, I have a tracking number." And they email me back and say, "No, there's no tracking number." So how can you ship something out without a tracking number? I don't understand. It's coming by a company that I didn't even hear of either. It's called Air Partial Post. Thanks, JD. Hey, welcome. How you doing? 8 for 8. Yeah, that's good. So, um, so I don't know when it's coming. I don't know how it's going to get here. When it's going to get here, no clue. So, and it's been 2 months waiting for them to get it too, because it's a replacement to the ones that I had up on the upper farm. The chickens up there got all messed up. They all cluttered and they wouldn't stay apart. They kept on, because they're all magnet and they came off of the platform. So, yeah, what are you going to do? So I contacted them. I contacted the company that made them. They said, we'll send you another one. So they sent it to the company I bought it from. And then they're, I don't know where they are. They're somewhere over in Europe. And it took a while to get here. And then I called them 2 weeks ago and they said, well, it's stuck in shipping here. We can't get it out of the containers or something. So I don't know. It took them a while to get it. They shipped it out today. And it's Euro Rail Hobbies is the company. I think they're in Canada. So, and they're out on the West Coast. I think they're in Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. So they'll be here. Then I'll have them on the first level farm. And so that way, when people come in here, they'll be able to see the chickens pecking. You can't see them up there unless you get on a step stool or something. So, so that's enough about the chickens, and you can hear them all night long. And every time I do a video when the chickens are on, like John Nippenberg goes, "Hey Tom, you got to feed those chickens." And I said, "John, those chickens are being fed by the women that work up there on the farm. You have the 2 girls up there going to the chickens, so they're feeding them all the time." So I created a new train. It has going to have 2 engines on it, and it has 2 box cars on it. It has a track cleaning car on it and a caboose. So it's going to be the track cleaning train, and that's going to run on the tracks where the track cleaning cars that are on the trains on the main lines aren't running, like in the yard, on the helix, both yards, up and lower. My second level industry, those 2 tracks and stuff like that. So there's a lot of places where that train will be utilized and to clean those tracks. So I got one engine ready. The other engine is the one with this motor that I showed you earlier. Hey, John, welcome. How you doing? I was just talking about you. I thought the chickens were in my living room for a while. Yeah, no, they're not, Russ. They're right here, right above me, actually. To my right is this is the foyer area of this room. This whole thing is a train room that I'm sitting in, but this used to be what was called the foyer. And then over on my left is what was called a family room. And I had a couch in here and the big TV on the wall. And I utilize the big TV for my JMRI panels. And I can always flick that to watch TV if I needed to. I can watch a YouTube video up there if I wanted to, but I don't need to because I have this laptop here. I can watch YouTube videos or streams while I'm working in here from here. So that's what I do. That's what that's all about. So, so that way, that track cleaning train will, yeah, like a mini lounge. Yep, that's right, Russ. Yeah. So, the chickens are up there. Well, I hope he loses it forever because this isn't the first time he's been caught doing this shit. He's an alcoholic. He shouldn't have a license, period. He's going to kill somebody one day if he hasn't already. They won't tell you that he did if he did. Because they think that's it. They made him the golden boy in the golf world. I thought he sucked. I didn't think he was that great. Right, yeah. He can hire, he's got millions of dollars. Why don't he hire somebody? Why does he have to drive? Well, they should just take his license away from him. Nobody, no, he should be banned from all states in getting the license. That's what they should do with drunk drivers. They should have a national thing, a national directory of drunk drivers, and they should be they should be flagged. And they go, because I knew a guy that had lost his license DWI. He went to Pennsylvania, and they gave him a license, and he was driving again. He had a Jersey license. He got DWI. He lost his license for, I think it was 5 years or something like that. He went over to Pennsylvania, applied for a license, and got it. So they need to have a national thing so that drunk drivers can't be put back on the road. Period, because they kill people, and that's not good. So I never had. Yeah, if I ever win a lottery, that's what I would do. But I like driving, though, Bob. I like driving. Never had a DWI. I've had a few speeding tickets. That's because, yeah, a national database. Correct, Russ. You're in that database. It's no different than like my fingerprints, the FBI has them. And if I ever got arrested, they would be able to find out that my fingerprints are on, on the system. But the reason the FBI has them is because when I worked for Federal Express, I got security clearance to go into the airport because I had to go pick up things at the airport, and I had to get in the back of the airport. I wasn't in the front of the airport, so to get behind, get through the gate, and get into where the planes are and all that kind of stuff, I needed to have security clearance. So I got that security clearance, and that's how I was able to drive and go in there. Yep, there you go, Bob. Yeah, who knows? That's because he's drunk. That's why, John. When you're impaired, you don't know, you don't see things the same way as you do when you're not impaired. You don't have depth perception. Maybe he was on a windy road and he missed the corner. Who knows? And who cares? I don't care about that guy. For all we know, it's a political stunt, and he's just trying to get attention again because he's not doing anything in golf. He lost a couple of them, and he's not doing well. If you are strong enough, you can jerk the wheel and roll it. I said it when he was. Well, I rolled the car. When I was married, I was driving 25 miles to work from where I lived and to go to work. And it was all a secondary highway. It wasn't major, it wasn't interstates, it was secondary highway. In other words, 2 lanes. And it's a route number, but it's not a major highway. And in the one town, you go around a corner and you're going uphill, and on the other side, there's nothing there, and there's a small creek there. Well, there was snow on the ground that day, and I'm coming around the corner, and there's a guy in my lane. He slid out of his lane because he didn't know how to control the car in a turn, and was coming right at me head on. So I cut the wheel real hard to go to the side of the road, and then I went over the edge, and I rolled. And I had it was a 65 Mustang convertible, and I didn't have a seatbelt on. And after about the third roll, I flew out of the car, and the car rolled down the hill, and then it ended up in the creek. It filled up with water. Now, if I would have stayed in that car, I would have died, would have drowned probably. The creek was only maybe 2 to 3 feet deep, but still. So I rolled a little bit in the snow, and then I had to climb back up to the top of the hill, and then I flagged down a driver, and then he drove me to a store just up the road a bit, and then they had a phone. We called the cops, and then they got a wrecker, and they got my car out. The car was totaled, so that was the end of that Mustang. So, but yeah, that was so that's what happened to that car. So yeah, it all depends on what you're doing. Like, I didn't have no intention of rolling the car, but when I went over the edge, it was leaning going that way, which made it go boom, 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 roll down the hill. That same car, that was a 4-speed on the floor with I think it was a 289 engine or something like that. So the other time I was coming home late from work. I worked two shifts in a row, and I was tired, and I was driving to home that time, and somehow I made a left-hand turn into a cornfield. The car drove into the cornfield. The corn was high. I knocked all the corn stalks down. The car came to a stop. I slept for a couple hours, and the car ran out of gas. And fortunately, as it was bobbling into the cornfield, it went into neutral. The shifter went into neutral, so it didn't drive anywhere. So it just rolled about 100 feet into the cornfield. So then I had to get out, go get some gas, and then I backed out of the cornfield. Fortunately, it hadn't rained. It was dry dirt, and I was able to drive the car out. So it was funny. You see all the corn stalks down. And then one of my buddies going to work one day, he goes, "Hey, did you see that cornfield?" I said, "Yeah, I'm the one that knocked them all down." He goes, "No, you didn't." "Yes, I did." And you could see the corn stalks in the fender and on in the windshield part where the windshield wipers were and everything like that. Yeah, I don't know. The farmer didn't know it was there, so he probably wasn't happy when he saw it, but he didn't know who did it. I never did it on purpose. Yep, that's right, John. It's probably going, who the fuck did this? What can you do, right? But yeah, that's some of the experiences. So those were like two accidents. One wasn't my fault. The guy was in my lane. I couldn't do nothing about it. I didn't want to hit him head on. So that wasn't my fault. That was his fault for being in my lane. And me driving into the cornfield, no, there was no damage except to the corn stalks. So, and I had a 1964 Ford Falcon, and I was coming home from high school, and I had three guys in the car with me, and we were driving down the road, and this lady in a station wagon. Yep, that's right. This lady in a station wagon there was like 5 cars in front of her at the traffic light. They were stopped for the red light, and I'm coming down the hill, and I was doing 50 miles an hour, and I applied the brakes because the traffic wasn't moving. Then the light turned green, and I let up on the brake, and the lady put her car in park because I saw the light come on her back, the back lights. Because when you switch it to park, the white lights come on those cars. And I go, what is she putting it in park for? And that was too late. And boom, I hit her car. My Ford Falcon had no front end. It gone. Her car, not a scratch. Cops came. He said, what happened? I says, I don't know. All I saw was that she put her car in park. I told the cop I saw the lights come on, and it was too late. And I ran into her. I thought she was moving. Traffic was moving. I was looking up ahead of her, and I didn't see her. All I saw was the white lights come on, and that was it. And he said, okay. He gave her a ticket, and he didn't give me a ticket. So then a wrecker had to come and take the car away, and that was the end of that car. So, yeah, that's right, Bob. But those were, I was 17 then when that happened. Going in a cornfield, I was in my 20s. And going around the corner with the snow, I was in my 20s, and haven't had an accident since then. So they say when you're younger, you get more accidents, and as you get older, you still drive the same way and everything. So yeah, I drove truck and stuff like that. Never had a problem. One time, my FedEx truck, I was pulling into a stop, and the brakes gave out, and I hit a telephone pole. I was only going like maybe 10 miles an hour, but I hit a telephone pole. It damaged the fender on the FedEx truck. Those 5-ton FedEx trucks are like made out of fiberglass, and it didn't go. So I'm pumping on the brake, and no brakes. And I called in the dispatch on my device, and I said, and I sent them a message. Truck hit telephone pole, and they were all, "Oh my God, you hit a telephone!" I said, "Yeah, no brakes. I don't have no brakes." The mechanic came. They came and took the truck away, and another truck came, and I unloaded all the packages that I had left, and him and I did the rest of the deliveries. Then when I went back, the mechanic said, "Yeah, your brakes were shot. They were good." So I said, "Oh, thanks for letting me know." So I didn't get in any trouble for that. So how did you get power on the track on that roundhouse? Um, I have my rocker switches there, Dave. Um, uh, I have a panel on the fascia, and all those service tracks are, each one is controlled by one of those double pole, single throw rocker switches. So I could turn each one of them off, when I all the tracks around. This track I can turn off here. This one right here. This one right here I can turn on and off. That's for the little switcher. That one goes there. And then all these stalls, I can turn them off. So when the engines get in there, I turn off those tracks. And normally they're not on. I just have them on because I was working up there before the show, so I left them on. Thought maybe they would light up and you'd be able to see the workers and the workbenches that I put in there. That's why. Oh, do you mean the bridge, Dave? No, that doesn't go on. That's on all the time. When I turn on my NCE system, there's two wires. Yeah, the bridge. Yeah, there's two wires that come out of the computer component on the bottom of the turntable, the pit. Underneath the pit, there's a computer board enclosure, and there's a board there, and it has a connector on it, and you can screw on wires. Two wires go to your DCC bus line. Yeah, something like that. And there's and the other two wires go to, they connect to the other part under the round table, and then they have like a telco cable that goes to each of the control boxes that I have on the fascia. So I have one on the front of the fascia and one in the back, and they show the track number that it's on, and you got buttons on there that you can move the things for. Yeah. And then there's a sensor that goes into the computer panel. It has two wires on it, and it goes. You can't see it, but it's right underneath this. It's right in that area there, and that's the sensor that the bridge needs to know it's there. That's how it knows where the bridge is located and everything like that. So that's how it works, from my understanding. Yeah, that's probably right, Dave. Now, I could take that bridge and put a rocker switch on that wire too if I wanted to turn that on and off. But that being on, I don't have to worry about it because the lead track that goes into the roundhouse, that always has track power on it also. So I usually set the bridge up to the lead track. Then when I bring something in to go into the roundhouse, then it'll roll right off of the lead track right onto the bridge, and I don't have to worry about hitting any toggle switches. So then I decide which stall I want to put it in. Oh yeah, I couldn't do cold rail here. No, because I have inclines here, and I don't know how well battery is going to uh, push those wheels up an incline. I think those are pole rails are for flat running. I don't know about going up inclines, and never go up the helix. Never go up the helix because even the engines have a single engine pulling a couple cars. It works, but not all the cars are weighted and everything. I'm going to use two engines to help it because that's a tough incline to go up, and it's only a 2% grade all the way up. But that's tough to go up that because believe me, it's tough to get up there. And so I'll have like maybe two switchers together, and that might bring up a cars and stuff. I have to see once I get the switchers working and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's a lot of little projects. A main one was getting the roundhouse completed and the tracks ready, and I just have a little more work to do on those two service tracks and put the man back inside. That's not hard. I just have to take the roof off and drop them in, and I'll be a little more keep an eye on the car. Yeah, that's that. Well, that's the other thing too. Batteries. I don't know what kind of batteries. Probably lithium batteries, maybe. Something that you can recharge regularly. Um, how many batteries you need to put in there? Um, the locals are unpowered, but so they'll be all like dummy engines, right? No, might have a light in them, maybe a speaker in them for sound. I don't know. I never seen uh, a battery operated train. One thing I was thinking about in my living room, I have a table in front of the couch, and it's open, and I might get an N scale train and just run a little loop around there. I don't know, maybe someday down the road. That's something that I was going to look at. Yeah, lipo batteries, but they are not fire and forget. Hey, Jason, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you here. Double, but not on scale. Doable, but not on scale. Special charging and discharging requirements. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. But you're going to be the pioneer in this, Bob. We'll see how your layout runs with them. But so that's what I've been working on. And my NRMA division director has all his SN3 locomotives on batteries with Bonami, all dead rail. Yeah, so Jason, does he run them in a consist? Does that give it more power or doesn't it? I don't know. Oh, yeah, his roundhouse is all charging tracks. Okay, so you can put the engine on a charging track and then charge the engine as it's sitting there. Yeah, that's a good idea. People in the air gun and paintball hobbies and RC cars use these batteries successfully all the time. Yeah, paintball hobbies. Yeah, RC cars. Guys are doing dead rail on YouTube, but not N scale or small. Yeah, I don't think N scale. I don't know. It's N scale small enough. They even got smaller than N scale. Maybe I'll do, isn't it T scale? Maybe I'll do T scale on my living room table. That would be fun. Then I could probably make a huge city in that. He ditched his DCC system and his charging tracks is powered by a 15-volt DC PSU. Yeah. T scale is little. Yes, it is. Hey, Ronald, welcome. How you doing? So, I don't know. So it's a lot of other things you can do, but I got to get this here going. And yeah, I've been very busy, Ronald. I get up every morning and I come in my office and I check my emails from the evening. Yeah. You just got to make sure that those wheels on those dummy locos are freewheeling. So that'll help. But you still got to make the wheels move, right? With the battery. So it's still got to have some kind of gear in there to make them run. So he's using Blunami and dead rail. So yeah, then you could have sound and that sort of thing. But doesn't that kill the batteries faster with all the extra decoder and stuff like that? Oh, thanks, Ronald. Appreciate it. So, well, guys, it's 9:23, and I think it's time to say goodnight to everybody. I appreciate everybody for stopping in. Sorry, you guys, that this came in. Yeah, the Earth Logo group has converted all their locomotives to Bonami as well. Yeah, most battery setups I've seen, the battery will last for hours. Yeah. Okay. Thanks again, guys, for stopping in. I appreciate it and spending time here with me tonight. And we'll keep you all posted on what's going on here. And hopefully I'll have a video out in the next day or so with showing the roundhouse in operation and everything. So everybody have a good night. Don't forget to watch Jim Tedesco tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and say hello to everybody else, and we'll catch you all later. Everybody take care and good night. Thanks a lot, Russ. Appreciate it. We'll end the stream in a second here. Just want to say good night to everybody. Make sure they all have a good one. Take care, everyone. Good night.